welcome to the Wednesday morning. And today, welcome to the Abhishek broadcast show. And today, before we jump to our topic for the day, why storytelling, let us repeat our Spartan code. First of all, thank you so much for joining me today. We have been our continuously on the 13th day. So let me read the Spartan code as we do every day, right? So this is the Spartan code. I choose to live by chance. I live to I choose to live by choice, not by chance, to be motivated, not manipulated, to be useful, not used, to make changes, not excuses, to excel, not compete, to choose self-esteem and not self-pity. I choose to listen to my inner voice, not to the random opinions of others. I choose to do things that you won't, so I can continue to get things that you can't. So, the Spartan code, making sure that we start our day with great affirmation. Now, coming to today's topic on the today's broadcast, basically why I chose this particular topic. I thought Wednesday should be something of a kind of a takeaway, right? Every day we're talking about on motivation, inspiration, but we need to also have some kind of day for particular skill set. So here we are, storytelling. The moment we hear the word storytelling, I'm sure what comes to our mind is basically a school child or we in school sitting, standing on that school platform and delivering a speech or telling a story. I vividly remember my first story was when I was in my first standard or first grade, and I gave a story about a dog, a greedy dog who wants to take away the bread of other dog. The Ramu dog, he'll be standing, he has a bread in his mouth, and then he's passing over and he sees a reflection of himself in the river or in the lake, and he sees that that's another dog there, so he wants the bread from the dog's mouth also. He scared the dog, he wanted to scare the dog, so he barks bow, and then the bread falls and Ramu loses his own bread. So that was my first story that I ever told in my life, at least what I remember, and I scored a prize on that. And then there was no looking back, to be honest. I have been in storytelling for as long as I remember. So if I am old, this much old, imagine just cut off 5 6 years, and that many years I'm telling stories. And I have seen personally the influence a story can make on anyone, whether it's inspiration, whether it is a profession, whether telling a product feature, a product benefit, telling how we can help being at the end of a company. If you want to convince your client, stories are just impeccable. But before I deep dive into why part of the story and giving you the science, I'm going to tell you the science of the story, right? This is whatever I told you is all the emotional part. Let me tell you the science on why people are still averse of telling stories in business. Specifically business means, I would say, two aspects. One, in your sales and marketing, I especially tell story, no problem, but in sales, and specifically when you are in interview, in front of the HR or in front of the hiring manager, most of the time people hesitate to tell stories. So why? There can be the reason number one is our self belief that it is unprofessional by nature. So somewhere in our mind we have made up a story that to tell a story, it's unprofessional. What the people will think? They will think, "Hey, what is this here? Is this uh, kindergarten to tell a story?" So that is the first reason to be called as an unprofessional, or you think stories are not professional. Number two, lack of confidence. At times we may lack confidence to deliver a story. So it has nothing to do with the story itself. People lack confidence, maybe in public speaking, maybe articulating the facts, articulating the emotion. So that's the second reason. Number three, there are people in business, basically, especially in sales, they will tell you, I don't care about what you're saying. Don't tell me stories, give me the facts. Again, we get overwhelmed, or we feel bad, like, oh my God, why did he even utter that story? I don't think the client is interested. So the reason number three. The fourth reason is people misunderstand what story is actually. So there is certain people don't know what story is. They're not being trained to deliver a story. They never did any rehearsals before delivering a compelling story. So this is why. These are the four reasons why people usually hesitate. Just to recap, sometimes stories, people believe stories are unprofessional. They lack confidence. Some people on the opposite only want to, hear the facts. So you don't want to deliver a story. Misunderstanding. the structure of the story in completely and not having rehearsed, so you can't tell a story. So these are the reasons in the it is why people are hesitant towards storytelling. Now, let me give you a reason why you should tell a story. I'm going to give you a biological reason, a proof. Now, I don't want to deep dive into the biology of how it works, but on the high level, because I have another 5 more minutes to go, so I'll just cover that portion specifically. Earlier, during the evolution, and until recent years, few decades back, we used to think that there is only two brains, a mammalian brain and a reptilian brain in human. But now we have come up with something called as a neocortex. To put it very simply, so neocortex is a wriggly structure in your brain. The science, the latest science in the past maybe 5 6 years, have found out that this neocortex is responsible for a lot of associations that we make through senses. So whatever senses we have, listening, smelling, hearing, taste, so whatever senses are there, without telling deeper into what senses are, it creates a mental model. Now stay with me here, this is what I'm saying. It creates a mental model. Let me give you an example. Imagine you are on a trek through a forest, and while you're walking through the forest, you come past through a turn, and you're going to turn it further, going to get to the left hand side, and then there is a tree, a very huge tree, and there's a lot of grass and foliage around it, very dense. While you're turning, suddenly you hear a slithering sound, as if somebody is gliding, right? And you get scared. Now, why are you getting scared? Because, let me take you a backstory of that. Because your friend, who has been a trekker for most of his life, told you that he also had the same incident. He was going through the same forest, and at one turn, he heard the slithering sound. And with the curiosity, he went and he saw a snake gliding, and he got scared and he ran away. So now you're also your brain, neocortex is trying to map that story with what's happening now. Here also the slithering sound is coming. Oh my god, is that a snake? Oh yeah, let me ignore and go. So you're saving yourself. Association of others' experience. So your friend transferred that experience. Your brain, neocortex, model that experience, and now the association is that anything that glides is a snake. Now, if you really go inside, it may not be a snake. It could be a chameleon. It could be a lizard. It could be anything, literally anything, or it may not be a snake at all. But since the association has been made, you think it's a snake. But again, you had curiosity. You just want to go and pop in and see what it is, and then you saw it's a chameleon. Then you say, "Oh, what? It's a chameleon, right?" Just a minute. Okay, so coming back to that issue, sorry, there was some issue with the broadcast. It's not able to be seen on the LinkedIn. So somebody came and told me that they can't see on the LinkedIn. Yeah. So you made a mental model of it, and then it was not working. So you try to update that mental model, and then okay, then you realize that it's a snake. Now you updated your mental model. So this is what story does to you. You update your mental model from the learned experiences of other, and you can use this frame or this storytelling always when you're communicating to others, in any type of business settings, business, or in interviews, anywhere, especially in sales. You can definitely use stories without hesitation. Example of this is what I told you now, right now. Is basically you're transferring your emotions or your experience basically to others, and those other people are picking up those experiences as part of a mental model. That's it, full stop. This is what storytelling does, and it just persuades people to be with you. So in the upcoming videos, in the upcoming few days, in few lives, maybe next week, I'll pick up on how to tell a story, and then we can continue from there on. So wherever you are, whatever you're doing, if you are in life, if you are in professional life, you're at the interviews, you're in the business, you're in the sales, make sure that you sticks to stories. But of course, you need to create stories in the proper way. They should be true, and they should be delivered properly, that's for sure. So that will cover up in the later stage. With this, I'll wrap up my live because already it's 10:46. Thank you so much for being with me. Take care. Thank you.